Hi there, everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Garcia.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at this. This is Patterns, a game designed by Trevor Benjamin and Brett J. Gilbert. The same two who worked on the original game Mandala, which is a sequel, a game that you enjoyed as well as I, right?
Very much enjoy. Great card game.
Yeah. So this one looks more like a straight-up abstract game on the board. So we're going to show you how this one plays, what the difference is between the original. But if you're not familiar with the original, don't worry. We're just going to be reviewing this on its own here. Let's go take a look. Here's Patterns set up on the table. The two players should sit opposite each other from this cloth mat here, which has a few features. First is a central play area, which has face-up tiles of the 6 different colors: green, yellow, blue, light blue, black, and orange. You'll see similar colors are represented here. These are the players' bowls, where they're going to keep their scoring markers for right now and their active chip that they're playing. And then this is the scoring area here for the purple player. And for the white player, as players claim colors, they're going to be putting these chips out here to remind them that at the end of the game, in this case, green will score 1 point each. Blues, light blues for this player will score 2 points each, so on and so forth. And this is going to be different for the two players. So let's talk about the gameplay here. Starting with one of the players, there are going to be 2 leftover chips. One player will choose which color they want to start with, and the other player will take the first turn. You have 2 options in this game. You can either start a scoring group of a color, or you can add to an existing scoring group. At the start of the game, you have to create a starting group. So this player might be tempted to come right over here and work on green. They will place their chip out here, place their scoring reminder token that all greens that they have at the end of the game will be worth 1 point each, and they take the other token here, which will be their next active token they can work with. The player might do something kind of similar and say, come over here, triggering yellow. This player should put the green token, and this player will put the yellow token over here. And so now play continues. This player could do something like this if they wanted to. They could start a scoring area in black, and players will continue to take turns one after the other. So let's talk about how to expand a scoring area. There are 2 ways that players can do that. So instead of starting a new scoring group, they can instead either flip over a tile that will add to their existing scoring group, or they can swap out, they can place a tile out here in such a way that it adds to a scoring group. On this player's next turn, they could then take this token and come over here, adding to their 2-point scoring group, and now they have a blue tile to work with. And then the player goes back to here. This player can come over here and start a new scoring group for 3 points in the dark blue. Play will continue back and forth until one player has no viable action they can do. Because at some point, once all of your scoring groups are established out on the board, you might not have a way that you'll be able to add to it. If all these tiles are flipped over here, for example, this player can no longer add a new tile to this scoring group because all of the orthogonal tiles have been flipped over. Maybe they're part of opponent's scoring groups or their own. And so at this point, they can no longer swap. They can choose to flip on their turn to increase the size of their scoring group. The other player would go, and when it comes back here, once a player is out of all options, they are done. The other player will go and take any number of turns that they want to, as long as they are only flipping tiles over. One important rule about adding to your existing groups is that in this case, neither player would be able to flip over this yellow token because the 2 different player scoring groups can never meet together. They can never be orthogonally adjacent. So no one could flip over this yellow, and neither player could add an orange token and swap out for this area. Once that is done, players will gather all of the tiles that they have scored of their different colors here at the end of the game. They will bring them over to their assigned scoring piles. Let's say that I was going to score 6 points per orange over here, and I had this. And this happens here. One thing you'll notice is that if this were to occur, 2 players are trying to have scoring groups of yellow, that neither player can claim this one here in the middle. And let's say this is the end game state. I would grab all of these tokens, add up the score of what I have. 6 points per orange chip. I have no 5 and 4s. I add up all these at 3 points each, all these at 1 and 2 point each. Whichever player has the highest total score is going to be the winner of the game. So the first thing I want to say is that I am glad that this is a very different game from the card game Mandala.
Yes, right.
To the point where in this review, I don't think you'll need to have played the original. It's so different that the only comparison point is really the scoring mechanism, where the first color group you establish is 1 point, second is 2 points, and so on, right?
Right.
Everything
That's
else from
really
that point on is different.
Yeah, the comparison is going to be made more because they're making it. Because they're referencing it. You know, they're saying patterns, a Mandala game.
Yeah.
And that's fine because I assume Mandala's sold well. They want to sell more of this, and so, that's sort of branding, but it's really just that one thing. They do not feel the same. They do not give me the same emotions. They don't have the same sort of cadence and flow. I would say this game is thinkier than Mandala. It is a more dry game than Mandala. It's really a different thing.
It is, yeah. This doesn't have as many like, ha-ha, woo, kind of fun moments, but it has a lot of really great pensive moments where you're sitting there thinking, okay, I have one chip that I can swap out, and only in certain areas, because I can, if I haven't established a color group yet, I can drop that anywhere.
Right.
But if I do already have it, I have to be aware of kind of moving in a way that allows me to continue to have flexibility with the next chip I pick up.
I mean, for one thing, if nothing else, this is a zero-luck abstract strategy game.
Yeah.
There is no luck after setup. Everything is on the table.
Right.
There's no new information that comes into the game, and Mandala was a card game, with everything that entails. So I really do think they're kind of for different people, and liking one, I do not think necessarily indicates you'll like the other. I really don't. No,
yeah, if you like that mechanism, cool, but outside of that, I mean, like I said, there's the establishing color groups, thinking 3-4 turns ahead. Mm-hmm. If I go here, what is my opponent going to do? It really plays out like a lot of zero-luck abstract strategy.
Yeah, and there's some interesting sort of area control, sort of edge definition, thinking a few turns ahead, like you were saying. There's some interesting things at play here that I unfortunately think are a little bit hindered by the look and some of the sort of production decisions that they went with here. I think the name patterns and a lot of this brown motif are not doing this any favors. I find the game not to be a looker whatsoever. And I also, while I thought that in the original game Mandala, the cloth board was a great idea and very striking, it kind of put you in the mood for the game. I think in this one it's actually a detriment.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it doesn't play out as well. I don't find it as captivating. I don't find it as interesting. I'd rather just have a flat, clean board that I can put these pieces on. And this one, it looks a little less elegant. And in the first one, it added to the charm. In this one, I think it detracts from the kind of game this is.
There's no doubt when you set it out on the table, you're like, do you like brown? Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's what there is. And a lot of the color tokens, especially the yellow one, don't really pop that well on it.
Yeah.
And to the point where the two sides of the yellow token, it's important to know which side is still available and which side is kind of locked in.
Yeah.
So just some of that visual clarity, I agree. I do like that the chips are very thick, though.
Yeah.
The reason I like the matte is, well, one, it makes me think of the previous game. That's another connective tissue. But outside of that, I do like that the pieces are very easy to manipulate. If it was cardboard on a flat cardboard board, you might, accidentally bump things more and have, you don't have as easy of a time with that, just kind of grabbing a chip to flip it. Because flipping is such an important mechanism in this game. Rather than swapping chips, just flip one. Expand out an area you already have. I think that works very well on the mat. Mm-hmm. And I've definitely seen that become disastrous in some games.
Oh, I think you might be right. It might be a manipulation sort of thing, and it's easier to manipulate if it is, this delivery system, this board. But I don't know, for me, it just detracted from the whole thing. I read an interesting comment online of someone who said something along the lines of, this game is just as good as any abstract in the GIF series of games, this very lauded series of games, which all have a cardboard, board centerpiece, and then plastic bakelite pieces in black and white and sometimes other colors. And I do wonder if, in fact, I'm pretty sure that this is a game that I would like considerably more if it looked like those games.
If it felt a little more elegant.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a game that the game is very clever. It's very engaging. It gives you things to think about, but they are within reach enough and not so, you don't have to extrapolate so much that they help you play at a nice, quick pace and feel clever while you do it. That's wonderful. That is exactly what I want in an abstract game. Doesn't outstay its welcome. It's easy to play again. It's exactly that kind of game that you play once and you go, ooh, let's do that again. It teased me. I want to do it again. It's very interesting. It's exactly that kind of game. But it is hindered at every turn by the delivery method for me, and the name is so deathly boring. Patterns, brown. If this was a deluxe production, something like Yinch, something like those games, I feel like I would be way more enamored with it.
And I know that you're talking about something more than I want game pretty, right?
Sure, yeah.
There is something to be said about, does the form factor of the game match what the game is?
Yes.
And I think that this one feels like it's kind of a step down because it's from Lookout. They're going to make an affordable, small box, little 2-player game.
Right.
Not one that's going to feel like a centerpiece type of a game. Not one that feels like, ooh, come look at this on my coffee table. Aren't you intrigued and want to play it? It's kind of like, let me show you this game. And that's kind of what this printing, what the quality and stuff does. I can't really, the artwork is, that is unfortunately a negative. It's true.
Yeah. I just think, I do worry that people are going to overlook this game, people who are abstract strategy players, because of many of these things. And I personally think it's an excellent 2-player strategy game, abstract strategy game. It really is good. It's that good.
Right. Just there's 2 things you can do on a turn, basically. You swap something out or you flip something over. And I really love the tension of watching the other player, watching your opponent, think about what to do, and they do the thing you didn't expect them to. They flip something over. You're like, they're moving out this way. Why? Okay, well, if I go and I do this, then I'm letting them have that. It has a lot of those great moments, and it avoids the thing that I'm not a huge abstract gamer because I feel like a lot of them are keep making turns until one of you two forgets or didn't see something, and then you misplay. This game isn't about misplays. It completely avoids that. Every turn feels good and productive and rewarding, but you still can play clearly better than the other player.
No, I agree with you. It's not that whole, ooh, I didn't see that, so I lost. For one thing, it's not that sudden death feel.
Yeah.
If you didn't see something and your opponent takes a turn that might have cost you the game because you didn't see it, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like, oh, I didn't see you were going to get 5 in a row by doing that. Okay, well, I lost. Right. It's more, ooh, that's going to get you 6 points. All right, well, let's see if I can make it up by doing other things.
And you might be able to.
Yes, that move might have cost you the game, but you don't know that yet. And so it doesn't feel like, and I'm an idiot for having missed that. You can keep clawing your way and make new moves. But yeah, that feeling of replace a chip, you need to be careful about not just what you add, but what you take, because this is your next option of where you may play. It combines things from a lot of other interesting ideas. It has a little bit of, hey, that's my fish in it almost. And it has a little bit of some of these Yinch, that series of games, the GIF series of games. Yeah, but it feels entirely its own while letting you, as the player, see the moves. It doesn't obfuscate what's happening. It lets you feel clever and make the moves you want to make. And it's engaging. It's also just a quick playing, engaging game. This is one I would teach to somebody who was sort of on the fence about abstract strategy games too. and I would definitely, I would consider it, and I would definitely do it if it looked better.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with those points there. Final score and rating and everything here. Where would you come in, Z?
I really like the game. At the end of the day, I really, really like the game. I know I keep hitting it for the things I don't like about it and that I wish it had done, but I get that it's part of a line. I get that they want to sell more copies, and Mandala did well. But having said all that, the game is excellent. I'm going to give this one an 8. I could see it going up with a deluxe edition, with a gift-styled edition. The game shouldn't suffer for that. It's an 8. It's excellent. I recommend it if you like this kind of game whatsoever. Don't overlook this one. Give it a look. Yeah.
And for me, I'm coming in very high. I'm giving this one a 9. Because it's an abstract game that doesn't make me feel dumb. It makes me feel clever at every turn. I love just the elegance of basically there's 2 rules. When you start growing your group in a way that it cuts off your opponents and they say, oof, I didn't see that coming. Or when it happens to you, I feel more respectful instead of angry. You know,
yes.
it draws out good emotions in a way that I feel like a classy abstract should.
Yes.
I don't mind the fact that they're cardboard chips and because what is in there I think works well. The mat with the chips, easy to pick up and maneuver and stuff.
Yeah.
The little reminders they give you of the scoring tokens out there, but also take this little token, put it on the 3-point area. There's just a lot of good visual reminders. You can look across the board, look at yourself. Oh, I already have a yellow group. It avoids a lot of fumbles. Mm-hmm. And it just makes for a game that's so fun and so neat to play. So yeah, I think that you shouldn't overlook this one either. So Patterns, a high score of a 9, giving this one a seal of excellence from us here at the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for coming out to this review. My name's Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
Keep that pocket sand on hand.
Oh, my eyes!